ANC spokesperson Pule Mabe is not off the hook for sexual harassment just yet. His accuser says the process that found him innocent was flawed. Juarelo Kekana has now opened a case with the police and is taking the matter to the CCMA. She sat down with colleague Ziko Nachona at her home in Alexandra.
And I don't regret ever speaking out, if anything. And I am prepared to seek justice for myself because I want justice.
For Juarelo Kekana, working at the ANC's headquarters was a dream come true. This is an organization she has admired since childhood and calls it her second home. She feels most let down by the ANC leaders who testified against her.
You don't want to base your determination on what witnesses say because they were not sexually harassed. I'm the one who was sexually harassed. It's about how I feel. It's about how my rights were violated by a senior staff member.
She says ridiculous claims have been made against her.
So people on Facebook, I've got various screenshots where they claim that there's 500,000 or something of that kind that was paid to me by the serial faction for me to run with the story. Pictures of a naked woman with an intention to portray me as a woman who's promiscuous, who uses men to get money and so on, or uses men to survive.
Kekana claims Mabe also abused other colleagues.
It's not only sexual harassment, but that man has been very abusive to us in the office.
What kind of abuse?
Verbal abuse, emotional abuse. Someone said to me, if you don't report this man, it will get to a point where he says to you, sleep with me, otherwise you will lose your job.
Kekana has not been to work since last year when the accusations first came to light.
That man has inflicted pain in my life. He has shown me a side of me that I never thought existed, where I'm scared, I would shake when I see a person.
Mabe isn't speaking on the matter and returned to work this week.
I have been failed, I am dissatisfied, I am disappointed.
The ANC says while Kekana is well within her right to challenge its decision, it insists proper process were followed.
We would want to respect the right of our employee, whether she chooses to disagree. But what she cannot disagree with is the fairness of the process.
Kekana wouldn't detail exactly what happened to her, but says she's prepared for everything to be revealed in a court. Ziko Nachona, Alexandra in Johannesburg.
Suspended Deputy NPA boss Nomgcobo Jiba says those who've made allegations against her resent her success. Jiba has taken to the witness stand at the Mogoro Commission of Inquiry, which is investigating her fitness to hold office. She's spoken about how she felt betrayed by her colleagues who've accused her of derailing high-profile investigations. Governor Whittles has more.
Can I adjourn, Chairperson?
Holding back the tears as she recounts her time in the NPA.
A 5-minute break.
You may.
Thank you.
Nomgcobo Jiba began her testimony with an emotional opening statement, expressing shock at what other witnesses have said about her.
The promotion, however, were never celebrated by all within the National Prosecuting Authority. As I recently found out, when evidence was being led at the inquiry, I was shocked to learn that people who I considered colleagues and committed patriots felt that I was not qualified to lead the NPA. The testimony of Advocate Brettenbach and Mr. Hofmeyer in particular revealed a deep resentment.
Jiba saying it was her counterpart Willie Hofmeyer's remarks rather than her own which cast doubt on the credibility and integrity of the NPA. Hofmeyer had told the inquiry high-profile cases weren't being prosecuted to protect politicians.
His utterances on the NPA, they should disqualify him from being its servant.
Then a warning that action against her could set a bad precedent.
It would not survive, prosecutors would not survive if when they have to make these decisions, have to watch their backs.
Jiba is expected to undergo cross-examination on Monday. Govan Whittles, Centurion.
The state capture inquiry has heard that former Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan warned former President Jacob Zuma the nuclear deal could bring about corruption that would make the arms deal look like child's play. Former Treasury Director General Lungisa Fuzile has testified that Gordhan told Zuma that any deal should be done by the book. Here's Aaron Bates.
On Monday, Treasury's former DG returned.
Thanks, Mr. Malaga. And I could see in your reaction that time that you were trying to tell me that I shouldn't hurry. The time will come for me to be pulled apart. I'm waiting for that to happen.
For now, he's been spared a grilling by former Finance Minister Des van Rooyen.
Certain cell phone records reflected that he was around Saxonveld or visited the Gupta family a number of times. I think it's important that I should know what he has to say about that. Is it true?
Lungisa Fuziles testified on why former President Jacob Zuma and Treasury clashed.
It was the nuclear procurement project, the purchase of shares in Engen by Petro SA, the matters relating to SAA, a few approvals, the Social Security grant contract, the General Asia matter, the closure of Gupta accounts by banks.
Treasury found nuclear procurement would be financially unsustainable. It was predicted servicing the debt of such a project could reach 95% of GDP by 2040. But some weren't interested in Treasury's report.
There was an attempt not to go through it in as thorough a way as we are even doing here. And precisely because it was saying things that people didn't like.
Who was dissatisfied about National Treasury?
Definitely President Zuma.
Aaron Bates, Johannesburg.
Edenville High School pupils had to put their pens aside and dodged bullets on Thursday. A gang of armed men held up teachers at gunpoint during a robbery. 2 men were shot dead by police, while another was wounded trying to flee. ENCA's Lindokuhle Xulu has that story.
Help! Help, please, Mel. Edenville High School's been robbed. Please help. Edenville High School.
A distress call from Edenvale High School during the robbery.
Get there now. Anyone that can assist. I'm en route. Anyone that can assist. Edenville High School's been robbed.
Police responded to the call. When they arrived at the school, a deadly shootout ensued with the fleeing suspects.
When they arrived, the suspects were on their way out. The shooting started. That's when the police returned fire. 2 suspects indeed were shot and killed. 1 is injured, 2 arrested, and the other suspect flee with other 2 vehicles.
According to the school, the men gained entry by posing as parents. Edenvale High says it really has money on its premises. It's explained the 8,000 rand that was taken was from school trip payments.
We never keep money on our property at all. Today there were a limited number of people that paid into for the trip away. So no, I don't think it was an inside thing at all.
MEC Panyaza Lisufi has commended the men and women in blue.
Criminals must know if you point a firearm to the police person have the right to also defend themselves. And therefore, it's just unfortunate that lives are lost here. I came here looking for a school. I found bullets instead of ball pens.
Police have launched a manhunt for the suspects who escaped. Lindokuhle Xulu, Johannesburg.
Online bullying has again reared its ugly head. Gauteng education officials are now investigating after a teenager who was allegedly bullied over a week committed suicide. ENCA's Lorenzo Timber has more on this tragic story.
On Monday morning, a grade 6 pupil at the school killed herself, apparently after relentless cyberbullying on a WhatsApp group.
We know that there was an allegation that was reported at the school that one learner threatened to circulate a video footage depicting her, well, these days, learners or young people, they do what we call twerking and all those things.
The extremely traumatized 13-year-old rang the alarm and reported the alleged bullying to her teachers in an effort to get help. She also named the schoolmates said to be responsible.
Our safety measure policy is very clear on what is it that the school must do in the event there's such a case that has been reported to them. The protocol is there on what is it that you need to do.
The password is for you to have access and to know what your child is doing.
One social worker is warning cyberbullying is on the rise.
Social media, when you've sent it out, it's out there. You cannot pull it back. It's not something that you can erase from the net. If you've sent it out, it's out there, and that is the problem. And we don't see that children really grasp that yet.
Strauss says parents have a big role to play in identifying and squashing online bullying.
If you cannot have access to your child's phone, then they are hiding something. So have access to your child's phone, see what they are watching, what are they monitoring, go into the chat groups and know who the children are that your child is talking to.
The Education Department will be providing counseling to pupils and teachers at the school. Veranzo Temba, Pretoria.
Still to come, Gautengers show off their language skills in the spirit of World Mother Tongue Day. This is Week in One.